Man, what a fight. Tyson Fury. I actually just did a video on it. Tyson Fury showed me he has great moxie, great heart, and Wilder matched him, I thought. But
Absolutely.
the pedigree was the difference. The pedigree was the biggest difference. And great job last night. You put on a great show, even without the UK fans.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I, people should have paid attention to that Jared Anderson fight.
Mm-hmm.
He is going. Tyson tells me that Jared will be the next heavyweight champion.
Yeah, that's what I saw last night. I saw a guy who really doesn't even get it yet. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like
Well,
what
he hasn't even had 10 fights yet.
no, he's bad. And to some
I'm bringing him back. He'll be on the pay-per-view undercard on for Crawford Porter.
that's
On
smart.
November 20th.
And you may need that bump too, you know what I mean, for the pay-per-views. Yeah, that's a big deal. And he might have passed Berlanger yesterday in terms of boxing experts or pundits, you know?
Yeah, Berlanga was a disappointment.
Yeah.
I mean, he for what it just shows. I mean, Berlanga with all his ability and power, he was in with a really gutty, crafty, experienced fighter
Mm-hmm.
who really took him to school.
Right. No, you're right. And I would say overall, I thought you and Al did an extraordinary job at putting this card together. You know,
Yeah. You gotta, you can't only compliment me. It's the guy. It's my matchmakers and Al's people. Everybody for a change really worked together on this show. There wasn't one argument, not one disagreement.
Now my expectations are through the roof for the undercard of Porter Crawford.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who would you like to see Jared Anderson fight out of curiosity? Like a Gerald? Can he handle a Gerald Washington at this point?
That's a question best asked my matchmakers. That's what they get. They get paid a lot of money to make those decisions, and they're very, very good.
Yeah.
So he'll be, obviously, every fight will be a step up for him.
Right.
I don't remember when I've been so enthused about a rising heavyweight like I am with him.
Really?
I mean, yeah. I watched in the gym.
Oh yeah, because he's at your gym every day. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not every day, but I went to the gym a lot, and I saw Tyson and Jared, and Jared gives him hell. That's what Tyson loved, because Jared can box and he can punch.
Did he knock him down, Bob, or no? Did he knock Tyson Fury down or no?
No.
Okay. Now, walk us through the emotions of this fight. I saw you ringside, you and Derek. I saw y'all. Round 3. Did you think the fight was over?
Yes. I was sitting with my wife and with Jim Dolan, who's the head of the Garden.
Oh, Jim Dolan, yeah, Dolan family.
Yeah, he sat next to me, Jim. A good guy. And I said to both of them, well, thank God this fight's over. Because Wilder came out a completely different fighter from the way he came out in the first 2 fights.
Right.
And then I almost died when Fury got knocked down twice in the next round.
Yeah. I was impressed with Tyson Fury's recovery rate.
Yeah, well, you saw that in the first fight. It looked like he was friggin' dead. And he got up. And when the thing that's different,
yes,
with Fury and say Wilder and other fighters, is when Fury gets knocked down, it sort of energizes. he's not wobbly. He comes back and he's like nothing happened.
Yeah.
When a normal fighter gets knocked down like Wilder, he's wobbly and he has to run and hold on, or else he can get knocked out. But Fury is different. That's the difference between him and any other heavyweight I've seen.
Right. How valuable was Stewart? Was Sugar Hill last night?
He is the best. Look, his uncle Emmanuel was one of my dearest friends. Great guy and brilliant trainer. And Sugar Hill learned from Emmanuel.
Got that.
Vladimir Klitschko became heavyweight champion for years, but I remember before Vladimir linked up with Emmanuel Stewart, he was getting knocked out by big punches.
Right.
Emmanuel changed him. The improve. Tyson Fury is a big guy, and he was very good when Sugar Hill started training him. That's for the second fight. But Sugar Hill really, really improved Tyson Fury tremendously. Tremendously. And when he was having difficulty in this last fight, Sugar Hill's instructions were not just, the usual bullshit that trainers give to the fighter. It was right on. You got to use the jab, and then in the 10th round, he said, "Now be the big dog and take him out." He's really he sees things that a fighter in the middle of a fight doesn't see, and he is able to communicate it to the fighter. I mean, I really believe that he and he's a young man, that he in the future will be regarded as the premier trainer in boxing.
Well, he got a great jump start too. How would you rate Malik Scott?
Very good job. Very a hell of a lot more better Wilder than I've ever seen. I mean, you never see Wilder come out aggressive like that. Wilder usually lays back, loses rounds, and relies on the big bomb to take the opponent out. Look at the Ortiz fight. Look at a lot of other fights. Well, that wasn't going to work. The second fight showed that wasn't going to work with Tyson Fury. So the game plan was to box smart but box aggressively from the get-go. And that was a good strategy, actually.
No, you're absolutely right. Moving forward, you have a possibly the gift and the curse. You got the best fighter in the world, but Wilder's going to be out for a while, and they tied up with the rematch. So how are you going to? Because Tyson Fury has to come back because Americans going to forget about him between the NBA playoffs, Major League Baseball, NFL Super Bowl.
Yeah, I understand that. But again, you're absolutely right. Usyk is obligated to give a rematch to Joshua. But I've begun talking with everybody and for a new arrangement.
Got that.
Let Fury fight Usyk and let Joshua fight the winner also. Maybe everybody will go for that because that seems like the sensible way that people would like it to happen. Let's have one unified champion and then give Joshua his shot at all the belts.
How would you move Wilder's career moving forward?
Wilder needs two things. He needs to take a long period off after that type of battering. And two, I would send him with next week, 2 weeks to the Cleveland Clinic or the Mayo Clinic to get totally evaluated. You know, a beat down like that, you know, he showed too much guts. A beat, really can affect the brain and have an effect on the future. And I would insist that he get evaluated by the top medical experts before I agree to put him in the ring.
Got that. Makes sense. So you could see him out for over a year, right? He could take his time, right? I think he's ran his.
Yeah, he should take his time. But once he's cleared, then, you know, go into training and fight a good fight.
Right.
There are a lot of good heavyweights out there now. And I mean, heavyweight division is live and well. The one thing I'm excited about is again this Anderson,
right?
Jared Anderson, who may be becoming the best. You know, it's early yet.
Right.
The best American heavyweight.
Yeah, I mean, Ali came back from a beatdown, you know, in a few fights. So, Wilder
never this kind of beatdown.
Really?
I know never this. Let's be never this kind of beatdown. And look at, I think I was talking to Dr. Elatrosh, the sports doctor, and we discussed this. And Ali went through hell in the third Joe Frazier fight.
Yeah, he wanted to quit.
Yeah, well, he don't believe it.
Okay.
that's what he said, but
okay.
I was there.
Okay.
No, but he was never the same again. And maybe his Parkinson's wouldn't have been as severe if he had quit after the Frazier fight.
Do you see a lot of similarities in terms of Deontay Wilder's outspokenness in terms of for black people for Muhammad Ali?
That's why I'm the only promoter that can handle Tyson Fury.
I'm talking about Deontay Wilder. I'm talking about Deontay Wilder and Muhammad Ali. Do you see any similarities between Muhammad Ali?
No, not really. No.
Oh, okay.
But I do see similarities between Tyson Fury and Muhammad Ali. How smart they are, how verbal they are. You know, you can't. You know, it was impossible to debate either one of them.
Sure.
So yeah, I see a lot of similarities between those two.
Okay. Many of the people that watch this videos don't call that blasphemous, Bob, but
No, I don't think they would. Listen to Fury. How many people forget just boxers would hold their own with Tyson Fury debating?
I mean, he has a great mouthpiece.
He is so quick.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You still there, Bob?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Before we switch, did you apologize to Kate Abdo yet?
Yes.
Okay. I was gonna get on you, Bob. I said I'm gonna call you first. I was gonna get on you, Bob. I'm glad you did. Thank you.
No, that was what happened was Tom Brown, Watson, and myself before that press conference got the talk to the producer, got the issue that there would be no face-off.
Got that.
He agreed. Suddenly, she then, after the Fury humiliates Wilder verbally, she wants it. She asked for a face-off. So I said no, and I attacked her. It wasn't her fault. The son of a bitch producer reneged on his deal with us. And he, in her ear, said, now have him do a face-off. So she was just doing what she was told, and she wasn't a privy to this agreement.
Right.
You understand? So my attacking her was absolutely uncalled for, and she was just a victim of somebody else's bad action. So I certainly, I've apologized a number of times. So she's a big talent and a lovely, lovely woman.
I'm glad, because like her and Christina Poncer, they're two women in a sea of 1,000 men. You get what I'm saying? you know, and we got to protect 100%. We got to protect those women. We got to protect those women. So yeah.
You know, it was completely wrong on my part, and I made it known to her and to all the other people at Fox.
Got that. Terrence Crawford, Shawn Porter, man. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm glad that y'all was smart enough to do it. Terrence Crawford is opening up to the media. I'm glad your whispers in his ears working. I think it's a great fight. It's going to be challenging getting people to pay for it with all this money circulating in boxing. I heard your pitch. I don't know if that's a great pitch. $250. People ain't got $250, Bob. People got to make decisions, you know. So
but no, I don't think so. I don't think so. Because remember, we're talking pay-per-view.
Yes.
$250, hell of a lot of money for anything.
Yeah.
Particularly watching anything on television.
Right.
But remember, very few of the people that buy the pay-per-view watch it themselves. Mostly have 10 other people over. You know, when you look at it that way, it's really a bargain. In other words, if you have 10 friends, 5 couples, something like that, and you want your big fight fans, and it costs you a little less than $250 to watch these 3 terrific fights last night.
Right.
Canelo, Plant, and Crawford fight. That's not bad. That's not bad. It makes for 3 great, exciting, entertaining evenings.
Got that.
Where you're with your friends. So that's really why I'm enthused. And looks like the preliminary results on the pay-per-view is that the pay-per-view did better for this fight than it did for the second fight.
It did? So you shooting for over $1 million?
No, we did about eight. I don't know. We did about 860 for the second fight, and now we're tracking considerably better than the 860. So I would hope, based on these early results, that we will exceed $1 million. Yes.
Congrats.
And remember, last time we got 50% and they got 50%. This time we get 60%, they get 40%.
But how much does a cable company get out of the 100?
It isn't 100.
No, it's about out of the 100%. How much do the promoters get, and how much do the cable companies get? Is it 50-50, 60-40? How does it work?
No, it's 70-30. It's 70-30.
So the cable company gets 30%, and y'all split the 70.
30%.
So 70 to the promoters, correct?
Correct.
Okay, good. You know what would have been a great idea was to have a bundle package, because you're advertising to 1 million people. When they click the button, even if they don't do it, you could have bundled Shawn Porter and Terrence Crawford with this fight.
Well, you know, the different financial entities.
Got that.
Because it's 60-40 with Al and ourselves. In last night's fight, it's 100% on the Crawford fight. He has to get 100% on the Canelo fight. So it's very complicated.
I totally understand where you're going with that. I'm glad our last interview, you called Shawn Porter Shane. I thought that was hilarious. So I'm glad it got off to a better start. You now know Sean Porter's name, and how do you see that fight? Say it again.
Sean's a terrific
young
man.
Sure.
Very articulate.
How do you, I'm sorry.
I've known him for years because when he first started, he was a sparring partner for
Manny Pacquiao. Yep. That team is very mature. They move. The Porters move in a very mature way. You understand?
He's smart. The father's smart. Is smart in a good way.
How do you see that fight? Do you see a knockout or obviously you're going for Crawford, but do you see a late stoppage decision? How do you see that fight?
I don't see it. I just know that I have such confidence in Terrence that he is a fighter that will always find a way to win. But he's never fought a guy as any welterweight that's been in his face and will be in his face for as long as it lasts.
Right.
And how he reacts to that is something I don't know. I don't realize.
Right. And are you still want Terrence Crawford to be a free agent, or are you negotiating?
No. Listen. Terrence Crawford being Terrence Crawford.
Why no?
I think our relationship will be better if he's a free agent and we offer him what is the best deal and so forth. I think he likes our people. He has confidence in us. And this whole idea of long-term contracts with fighters is relatively new. All these guys, Foreman, Ali, Marvin Hagler, all these guys, big names that I promoted, I never had more than a 2-fight deal with.
Okay.
They were all free agents all the time. And because they were free agents, it was a lot of ways easier to deal with.
Right.
If they're under a contract and you offer them a deal, sometimes they're resentful because they have no other alternative but to take the deal.
Right.
But if they're a free agent and they view the deal, and maybe other people are coming at them with other deals, you have a happier fighter. So I really believe, not that it is a choice, but since Terrence's contract with us is up after the Porter fight, that the relationship will be better.
Okay.
Because Crawford is a free agent.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we all want everybody to win. Crawford, obviously Bob Arum, and obviously Sean Porter. Let me ask you this: since you mentioned Muhammad, do you have any regrets as it pertains to Muhammad Ali?
No.
Because
listen.
Okay.
Do yourself a favor.
Yes.
Get that Ken Burns documentary.
I watched it. That's why I watched everything. I watched everything. I saw it. But go ahead.
Well, if you watched it, there is one scene, I think contemporary, where he loses the fight to Leon Spinks. And he asked me, please get him the rematch because I'm in the business because of him, which is true. And I say to him, okay, if win or lose, you promise me it's the last fight.
Yep.
And he agreed. And indeed, I paid him $250,000 in addition to his purse.
Wow.
After the fight, so that he officially could retire, so I could do this tournament where John Tate became the champion. And then 3 years later, 3 years later, King came to him with this great idea that he should come back and fight Larry Holmes. And at that point, he was totally spent. but he always needed money because he gave away so much. And that fight and the sparring for that fight, where he couldn't move and he had sparring partners hitting him on the head and everything, I think really put him over the top. And as bad as he was getting after the third Fraser fight, when you just listen to him talk, before the last Fraser fight, after the last Fraser fight, already not being crisp as he was, and then after the Holmes fight, where it was difficult to pick up what he was saying. So do I have regrets? I had nothing to do with the Holmes fight. Would he have been better if he had retired what he said he would after the second Spinks fight? I believe so, but no one would ever know. But remember, Ali had Parkinson's. But I was talking to a doctor last night, Dr. Alatrosh, and he said he had Parkinson's, and it is a medical fact that if you take blows to the head, you accelerate the Parkinson and you make it worse than it might be. But in all events, Ali would have been afflicted with Parkinson, but he would have lived longer probably, and it wouldn't have been as severe.
Got that. Yeah, I had a great time watching that documentary, man. I was just thinking, like, what could there have been a stopping point? And I'm glad that now we know that you gave him an additional $250,000. And my part two to that is, who do you think was a worse influence on him, being that you were out of the game post you, Don King and or Herbert Muhammad, as it pertains to getting them back in the ring?
Well, I'm a Herbert Muhammad loyalist. Herbert was always great to me, and I always considered him a friend. And who do I think I blame the most?
In terms of getting them back in the ring, not in terms of like the money and all that, but just say, hey, you can get this money real quick. Not in terms, that's what I was.
I blame the Ben Franklins.
Great answer, Bob. Great answer. Yeah, man. It was just painful to watch the demise of Muhammad Ali, Yes,
it was, particularly, for somebody who associated with him and knew him so well when he was the beautiful Muhammad Ali,
right?
That I was privileged to be around.
Do you have any regrets in this game? Any contracts you regret? Any fights you regret?
But again, the trick is to put it out of your mind, because it doesn't help to have regrets, and to look, what you want to do going forward. I could kill I could be totally depressed for a lot of wrong moves I made, a lot of wrong choices I made. But what good does that do? It just drives you, it embitters you, it drives you, you're sort of crazy, you don't function as well because of those regrets. So my philosophy is, don't have regrets, because don't think of them, and just look forward to what you want to do in the future, because that's the only thing that's important.
Right. Do you care to share one or two of those regrets? Because people are gonna.
No, I don't want to dwell on them.
Okay.
Because they're in the past, and in my mind and my consciousness, they're buried.
Because 50 years from now, 100 years from now, they're gonna be using our interviews, Bob, because I think I'm one of the few guys that dig on you historically, you know, as it pertains to your career and life in boxing. So I know they're going to use our content. What's some of the highest moments of your life as it pertains to boxing?
Well, again, the highest moments are victories. Victories, particularly victories when people denigrate what you were doing.
Right.
I mean, the one that comes to mind more than anything was when I made the match of Oscar De La Hoya, who, by the way, came over to me last night. He was there, you know, and you know, I had a great relationship with Oscar, and I still do, and I like him very much. But at that particular point in time, Oscar had gone his own way, and somehow I convinced the genius Richard Schaefer that you pick up an easy buck by fighting this little guy Manny Pacquiao, and the Philippine Congress had passed a resolution condemning the fight because Manny was going to get hurt, and tried to not allow him to leave for the United States to train for the fight.
Wow.
Because they wanted to protect him. And all the critics said what a mismatch it was and all of that. And you saw what happened. Pacquiao won every minute of every round.
It was a complete mismatch.
Yeah.
Why do you Why do you think there's a and this ain't an Oscar De La Hoya question, but Oscar De La Hoya brings to mind, and maybe you can be, why is there such a codependency with fighters outside the ring, whether it be alcohol, whether it be sex, whether it be, it seems like when we look back through history that they have, many of them have these codependencies. Why is that, you think?
Well, I think because
you're muffled, Bob. Bob, you're muffled a little bit.
If they become a prominent fighter, a prominent athlete, they're courted by all the people that want their notoriety.
You're still muffled, Bob.
So at that particular point, they pick up bad habits.
Got that.
And at first it's one drink, then it's another drink, and then maybe it's some drugs, and they can't get back.
Right.
But the strong ones, the ones that have real belief, are not destroyed in that way.
Got that.
mean, you look at Andre Ward. I mean, Andre has had great success as a fighter. He's now a terrific announcer. He's one of the most clean living people you'd ever meet. And so there are a lot of Andre Ward athletes in boxing out there. You know, athletes, former athletes. Look at George Foreman. Look how he lives his life. So, yeah, there are some that don't resist temptation and go down the slippery slide, but there are so many that it doesn't affect because they live a good life.
Got it. And final question, you're coming down the stretch. I know your voice is losing you. What?
Yeah, I know.
You remind me, Oscar, what happened between you and Roy Jones being on the undercard? Can you share your side of that story? Because I just heard an interview with Roy Jones where he was upset with you that you put him on the undercard of an Oscar De La Hoya fight. Do you remember that? I can't hear you, Bob.
I really, like, I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I have absolutely no recollection because Roy Jones came before Oscar, didn't he?
Yeah, just before 92. 92 sold, and Oscar was
yeah. It was
88 sold, 88 sold, 92 Oscar. Yeah,
exactly correct.
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea that Roy would be on an undercard of an Oscar De La Hoya fight seems a little far fetched.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, could it be?
Mm-hmm.
If Roy, says it happened, it probably happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I have no recollection of it, or why it would happen, or certainly no recollection of anybody complaining about anything like that. Really surprises.
Right. Final question. How's your documentary coming?
Really good.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
The documentary is going to be a 4-part series.
Oh, snap.
And it's great people, big producer, and hopefully they will start to put it together probably the end of this month.
Oh, so it should be on ESPN by the summer?
I don't know ESPN or Netflix. It's up to the producer.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be disappointed if I don't get interviewed for it, because you and I have peaks and valleys in our relationship. Man,
the best documentaries are not those that have talking heads, but have contemporaneous. Great thing about Ken Burns' documentary is they had people talking at the time events took place.
Right.
Back and got the footage and so forth. That resonates more than relying on people's memories.
Right. Great point. Great point. And Bob, keep the ball rolling. We'll be in Atlanta in 2 weeks. And then in a month, we'll be back. How's the ticket sales for both those events?
Here we have Navarrete is fighting.
Oh, yeah. San Diego, October 15th.
Tickets are going great. I think there's a kid, this Santione kid, Giovanni Santione. He will have a big crowd in San Diego.
I may come down for that. I may come down for that fight, Bob.
Good. You should.
Yeah, I may drive down for that.
Good God.
And how's the ticket sales for Crawford Porter? Doing well?
We're doing it in Mandalay Bay.
12,000 people.
11,500, and we have less than 2,000 seats left.
So capacity that night is 7,500.
No, the capacity that night is 11,500.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, no, because you're muffled. That's why we couldn't hear.
But we have less than 2,000 tickets left. So
congratulations. You got to bring them back on Stephen A. Smith or something. They got to go viral. They got to talk about Stephen A. Smith hairline. Who's the worst dressed? Something. You got to get these contemporary fans falling back in love with boxing. Last night, y'all did a great job making contemporary fans fall back in love with boxing.
Dina, who handles our tickets, she become friendly with this guy. I forgot his name. He has 29 million Twitter followers. And he's been tweeting about this fight to his 29 million followers.
Got that.
All week. So she rewarded him, he and his buddy, with a front row seat.
Oh, dope. That's smart. Now you got him for life for your next promotion. Genius. That's a genius, Bob. Man, thank you, Bob. Man, I know you had a long. Go ahead.
Yeah.
All right. I know you had a long night. I truly appreciate you, Bob.
Good. Okay. Good talking to you.
All the time, man. Appreciate you. Man, great time with Bob Arum, man. And yeah, man, great fight last night. I want to say congratulations to Al Heyman and Bob Arum. I thought they get a good card. And that's what we got to learn, man. Just keep it down the line and call a spade and a deuce a deuce. You know, if you got pocket deuces, sometimes you got to pretend that they aces, but at the end of the day, they're what? Pocket deuces. You know what I mean? So I want to say thank you guys for tuning in. And great card last night. Thank you, Deontay Wilder. Thank you, Tyson Fury. And just an extraordinary bout, man. And I'm about to play the trailer of 9 Wives, and so we can have that. And it's just so cool, man. When boxing wins, man, it feels good when boxing wins. Even though my fighter, excuse me, not my fighter, a fighter that the Hawthorne family was rooting for didn't win, but at the end of the day, it was extraordinary film, and extraordinary. Looking at my 9 Wives trailers, you guys are. But yeah, man, great time, and I'm glad he apologized to Kate Abdo. That was pressing me. That was really, really pressing me. And so I'm glad that happened. And like I said, man, be a man. Be a man. Just because you can outpunch somebody, out earn anybody, that's not just one. That's only one characteristic of masculinity, man. You got to be a whole man. You know what I mean? And that's the space that I'm in as it pertains to just where I'm at, especially when I got a 6-year-old son, as you guys saw while I was doing this interview. Like, I was making these silent gestures because they can't be without me for 15 minutes. You know what I mean? And that's a testament to, dare I say, me striving to be a great father. So we got to protect these women. You understand what I'm saying? And I stand on that. And thank you, Bob. I thought you and Al did a great job last night with bringing boxing to the forefront. I think this is the lead story, and not just sports, but all over the world in terms of character and integrity. Thank you, Bob. I may even go down to San Diego Friday. I may go down Friday. So why not? Why not spend a day in San Diego? Why not? So anyways, man, barbershop conversations, man. I'm gonna play the trailer. And if you guys haven't seen that Ken Burns documentary, I suggest that you do. It's an extraordinary tale. You can't help but feel bad for Muhammad Ali, and I wanted to get his perspective. I'm gonna get Don King's perspective. Herbert Muhammad is deceased, so I can't get his perspective, but I'm real interested in that. And I think with all these interviews, at some point, I'll be able to produce a great documentary, in the next 10 years. So I was just real interested because Ken Burns portrays it as Herbert Muhammad pushing Muhammad Ali, because that was his right-hand man, pushing him to get back into the ring, and obviously Don King paying for it. So and I was just interested how much influence that Bob Arum has. And obviously he's gonna cut it off where he stopped promoting them, but all those blows to the head played a huge part in his acceleration of Parkinson. So anyways, man, click the link to 9 Wives, man. This is an extraordinary film, and we're gonna watch it right now. And click the link below.
Good evening, messenger. You convinced us that you were the last messenger. How many other bastard children do you have?
15 to be exact. 15 to be exact. And since we're speaking of Herbert Muhammad, this was actually his father, Elijah Muhammad. You understand what I'm saying? And they had a great time spending Muhammad Ali's money as it pertains to how many people have I a handful of people I've interviewed in the Ali family. So anyways, man, barbershop conversations. Feel free, hit the subscribe button, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.